So you might hear this idea that Donald Trump would have stopped a war from happening. Couldn't have happened on his watch because he's too hard, he's too scary, he's too unpredictable, he's too dripping with military prowess to allow Putin to invade Ukraine. Okay. And then usually when people bring up this argument, the hard man Trump, you probably ask something like, okay, what would Trump have done differently? If Trump was launched into Biden's shoes right now, given the presidency back, the election was rigged all along, they all met today, they put Trump back. What's he going to do differently? And then that's when they like cry and shit themselves. Because that's just been like every pro-Trump argument about this, like this entire war, right? It's just the ability to cling on to the correlation that the invasion happened, 2 years after into Biden's presidency. And that gives them just enough rope to say that this wouldn't have happened under Trump. Okay. We don't need to ask anymore, though, right? We don't need to ask because we know what Trump would have done. We know the kind of strategy that Trump would have pulled out that Biden was too dumb and too weak to think of. Look what he said. Trump, US should put Chinese flags on F-22 jets and bomb shit out of Russia. That's what was up the sleeve. That's why no fucking conservative will ever tell you what Trump would have done differently. Fuck me. And you can read the full article as well. Trump said that the US should put the Chinese flag on F-22 jets and bomb the shit out of Russia in retribution for its invasion of Ukraine. To laughter, the paper said, the former president said, and then we say, China did it. We didn't want to do it. China did it. And then they start fighting with each other and we sit back and watch. Hard man, Donald Trump. According to the Post, Trump also called NATO a paper tiger and said the US had won skirmishes against Russian troops while he was president and claimed to have been tougher on Putin than any other US leader when he was undermining NATO and pressuring the Ukrainian government to give him dirt on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Okay, nice. In his speech about the 250 of the top Republican Party donors at the elite Four Seasons Hotel, the Post said, Trump echoed GOP talking points against Joe Biden, claiming Putin would not have invaded Ukraine if he, Trump, had still been in power. I know Putin very well, Trump said. He would not have done it. He would never have done it. Russia interfered in the 2016 election to benefit Trump. The investigation of that interference produced criminal convictions of Trump's aides and extensive evidence Trump may have attempted to obstruct justice. As president in Helsinki in July 2018, Trump deferred to Putin in public and met with him in private without close aides. Whoa. In 2019, Trump held up military aid in Ukraine to attempt to get dirt on Biden, resulting in the first of 2 impeachments. Nobody has ever been tougher on Russia than me, Trump said in New Orleans. The Post reported that Trump also praised Kim Jong-un, the North Korean dictator, for having total control of his country. Much of the rest of his speech was devoted to Trump's lie that his defeat by Biden was caused by electoral fraud, and there we go back to it. Yeah, okay. Okay. I can do a better Trump than that. I know. Fuck. Sorry. I'm just speed reading through. All right. Fuck you. Okay. Damn. I'm sure Putin would have been quaking in his boots about those little fucking American jets with Chinese flags drawn on him. Oh, God. What, do you want me to do it again? Do you want me to actually try again? Fuck me. I know Putin very well. He would not have done it. He would never have done it. Nobody has ever been tougher on Russia than me. Okay. I'm trying. Oh, God. Scottish Trump. I know, right? Listen, it's not my fault for not being fucking not American, all right? You know what they should do? You know what they should do? We're gonna get some F-22 jets and put a China flag on them and bomb the shit out of Russia. And then we say, China did it. China, we didn't do it. China did it. And then they start fighting with each other and we sit back and watch. It's going to be tremendous bombs with fake Chinese flags on them. Like none you've ever seen before. Nice one. This is so it's really funny though, because you know when people use this whole thing of like, oh, like create like dictators and aggressors will invade other countries when they can smell weakness on the other side, right? When they see a weak leader at the head of their like one of their major opponents, one of their major antagonists, then they will smell blood and strike. This is often what people will use in the appeasement argument in the Second World War, right? They will say that Hitler sensed the weakness of Neville Chamberlain after they signed a peace treaty together, tore up that peace treaty, and invaded Poland because he thought Chamberlain was too spineless to counter him, right? The problem is, Chamberlain didn't so much appease Hitler because he was scared, right? He didn't do that. He appeased Hitler because he didn't have much of a problem with Hitler. A lot of the British upper class and British politicians didn't really care that much about like Hitler. If the problem was anti-Semitism, right? There was plenty of anti-Semitism across Europe in the decades prior. It's not that he wanted to avoid a war either. He saw Hitler as an ally, more or less, like not so much an ally, but like beneficial to him, because he actually spoke about what he called the Anglo-German agreement, the Anglo-German understanding. And his main reason for appeasing Hitler, he actually said it. He wrote this in a letter to the king. He said it was that Britain and Nazi Germany were the two pillars of European peace and buttresses against communism. He made a choice to support fascism as a bastion against communism. It wasn't weakness that led to appeasement. It was a shared understanding. So it really makes me wonder, like, which president is more rhetorically and more ideologically antagonistic to Putin? Is it Trump or fucking Biden? And the answer is Joe Biden. Because so far, I don't think there's any evidence of Biden going off sneaking into like private meetings with Putin without their aides, praising Putin, like undermining NATO, which is like the thing that Putin claims to hate the most, undermining the Ukrainian government in exchange for political points. Bro. Hard Biden creates soft Trump supporters. All right, there we go. That's your new phrase. That's more accurate, at least. Okay. I think the problem with people like Majorly Based is they're so fucking America brained and delusional about America's influence that they think all of Russia's actions can just be reduced to what the American president is doing at the time, when there is no historical evidence for this. American presidents throughout history have taken all sorts of different approaches to Russia since the 1950s. There's never been a correlation between aggression, like the insane levels of aggression from America against Russia in the 1950s and 60s, when Russia just fucking rolled tanks into Europe. And those leaders were a lot more aggressive towards Russia than anyone has been today. Yeah, it's just since the 30s even. Oh yeah. I don't know how far you can go. Like, yeah. It's that I think that's the biggest problem, is just that like it's also the same people. It's the same isolationists, the same people who want America to be like not a major influence in the world stage, who want America to be like its own thing and like and like not involved too much in like the rest of the world, but then also claiming that like the president of America and their rhetoric and how strong they are will actually like influence the decisions of a fucking oligarchy in Russia. Like, I'm sorry, dude. How fucking delusional do you have to be? I'm sorry. cope. America is actually not that influential on the world stage. Sorry. But I like it. I like that that's all they've got, you know? For the amount of like fucking research we've done here and like looking at different like political angles and the history and all that. I like it that like the Republicans are just sitting there going, wouldn't have happened under Trump. Okay. Nice. Just let them say it, put their little statement on the fridge and like, no, oh yeah, no. Yes, it wouldn't have happened under Donald Trump. Yes, just pat them on the head and then put them away. We take your point. Will Russia continue to take land or will they? I don't know. Depends on whether or not Trump gets reelected. That's where Putin draws the line, right? Vladimir Putin. That's where he draws the line on the posturing capabilities of the American president. I have never spoken about how Trump wouldn't have done any better. Apart from quoted Trump himself on what he would have done. That's all I've contributed. I am smart enough to know that I don't know what would have happened under Trump. I don't know if he would have fucking cheered on Putin while he did it. I don't know if he would have been too reckless and fucking nuked Russia. I don't know. I'm not like the guy who's appealing to like baseless conjecture here. I'm just quoting your guy. Now we know. Since you couldn't answer, you spent fucking 13 days failing to answer my question of what Trump would have done differently. Well, we have something now. Now we know that he would have put Chinese flags on F-22 jets and bombed the shit out of Russia. Of course, he would have suggested this, and all his generals would have been like, no, get back on the toilet and start tweeting about, like, I don't know, the wall, you know?